right. Well, peace, Master Antonio. Peace. My name is Precious. Peace, Sister Kashia and whatnot. Well, welcome to Movie Innerstandings, and I'm Achi Low, you know what I'm talking about, and peace, Sovereignies. And today we are talking about the Truman Show. It's been a long request and requested by Master Antonio and Sister Kashia. Thank you, Jermaine. I gotta look at my left. You gotta be there. You know what I'm talking about? So, the Truman Show was a good movie. I liked it as a kid, as a teenager. I always thought it was a good, I say, starting point for Jim Carrey and serious roles. You know what I'm talking about? Because he was always the comedian and always in comedies. But this one had bits of comedy, but more serious. So it was the starting point of that. So I always liked the Truman Show, and just with the concept that it was dealing with. You know what I'm talking about? I see the Truman Show as I would say, ancestor to the Matrix. And what I mean by that is, let's say, it shows the build up of the prison, but in an evolutionary form. Whereas in the Matrix, you saw it in a program, a computer program, system program, and there was a whole new world inside this program. Well, in this one, I see it as the ancestor because it's in the outside world, but it's in a controlled environment. That's what I mean by it was like the ancestor to the Matrix. Time frame wise, not actual, but dealing with this topic and idea, and so we start off. One thing that was interesting is that one of the actors, Marlon, he says, everything's real, everything's real, but it's controlled, and it was like, well, if it's controlled, is it really real? You know what I'm saying? You're controlling everything. There's no uncontrolled variable. You know what I'm talking about, and things like that. Shalom, Sister Deirdre, and then we have the director or the director, Christoph. He says, we've become bored, watching, actors give phony, emotions, and it made me think of, this is like the antithesis to reality TV, but in a controlled environment, but even in reality TV, you still got actors, and a script. What you think is reality TV is not really reality TV. It's control. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the Truman Show was one big glitch. Yeah. And so, the Truman goes to, you see him go to work. But what's interesting in this whole environment, I might as well say it now, in this whole environment is one person's idea of basically probably what the world should be. And he's built it for Truman. You know what I'm talking about? It's sort of, in a sense, a Genesis story. At least that's how I've seen it. And you see, this world is like a, little island, but what was telling is that he sees tries to control the time frame and basically what I like to call the American Golden Age, which is the 1950s. You look at the clothing and they dress out of something out of the 1950s. You know what I'm talking about? Still got them ankle dresses and stuff. You didn't see no petticoats or whatever. But no cigarette dresses, nothing like you don't see no greases, no, no motorcycles, no nothing, but real good American Pie, 1950s, leaving the beaver type stuff. But with modern cars, gotta have that one black family minimum, and that's it. And you see that one black family, always Truman says hello to them all the time. But one black family minimum, the rest of y'all is labor. Thus you have the black bus driver. But I just found that telling, same land, this is stuff a lot. Yeah. Yes, it's Kashia. But also it sort of cooperates with parts of uh reality in the United States, where if you go to some places or some neighborhoods, that's really what it looks like. Something literally out of the 1950s. That's not even diversity. Sister Kashia. That's just okay. What? Look, like I said, one black family member, and that's it. That's not diversity. That's shadow play. You know what I'm talking about? Tokenism, whatever. That's not diversity. But yeah, but if you go and look around some neighborhoods, they look straight out of the 1950s. You will find diners. There's probably been there since before you were born. Man, I mean, the architectural housing and buildings straight out of the 50s. That white brick, depending on where you're from. Things like that. It looks like something out of the 1950s. And never changed. The Truman Show felt like it would be something that George Orwell will write. Yeah, I would say that Sovereign Needs, but I'll also say it ain't dark enough. It would be something, but it'll be a little bit more darker. A little bit more darker. A little bit more grim dark. I'll say like that. But yeah, he goes to work, does the same routine, as he goes to work. So you see the monotonous routine of going to work and things like that, meeting uh two twins, every day. Also going to the newsstand to get a newspaper and a fashion magazine, Vogue. I saw one with Vogue, and he's like, my wife loves them. my and things like that. There's no Cosmo. We are thinking about that. There's no Cosmopolitan. There's no well, there is no double XL, but we do that. But there's no Cosmo, there's no gossip magazines, there's no National Enquirer, things like that. Just look. It's about the good old days, right? But you see that. Yeah, they kept the PG. Peace, Aki Zach. You know what I'm talking about? So, he goes to work and he calls travel agency. Seems like he always does that. And he's looking for a woman called Lauren Garland or Sylvia Garland, looking to see if she's booked a flight to Fiji. But also he usually looks through the magazine, fashion magazines at the models, and then he takes a piece of the photo, whether it's the eyes, nose, or mouth, to basically recreate this woman's face. But even during Truman's life or his daily doings, there's always a product placement. Usually in TV shows, you don't have that. You got to wait to commercial. But because this is like a 24-hour thing, there's product placement. You usually see product placement if you watch international TV. There's always a product placement, and it's subtle. It's subtle, and no one talks about it in a sense, but it's very subtle with the product placement. But it's there. You know, um, things like that. And then you see Truman, he goes and hangs around Marlon and tells Marlon, he just wants to go. He wants to go to Fiji. He wants to do something different. To me, it was like Truman was a guy in search of his independence and purpose, in a sense. So he's like, man, I want to go to Fiji. Now, no, he wanted to go to Fiji for a reason, but he also wanted to go just to get out of this boring town of Sea Haven. Um, it would. It's what makes America great again. Years before Make America. Yeah, so did you spot on. He was recreating her from thought. Yes, he was. Thought of memory. He was recreating her from his memory. But thought. But yeah, memory. And after that, he sees his dad, who looks like a homeless man, who's supposed to be dead. But when he tries to talk to him, he's stopped, by, stand-ins and things like that. Is well, brothers, that is not like Pleasantville. That's another good movie. Pleasantville is, but in a sense, but the glitch of Pleasantville is the colorization of Pleasantville. Nothing's black and white anymore. It's colorized, technicolor. We in technicolor, what I'm saying? Things like that, but whereas it's not one person that is the glitch, but everybody is touched by it. Everybody does something to actually get in, I won't say infected, but get colorized in a sense. Something they have to do, I guess, to answer their own question makes them come into color. Or something that they question comes into color. Or something that they did makes them, get into color, let me get off Pleasantville. But that's another one. That's another good one. Would that be like eating from the tree of life? Well, yes. I would say that. But I also say eating from the, if we're still talking about Pleasantville, I would also say eating from the tree of life and also eating from the tree of knowledge and evil, just because that daggone apple that they had. Boom! He circles it, because what's introduced to Zach, you got me talking to okay, but what's introduced to him? Knowledge. The knowledge of good and evil, because there was basically no good and evil. They wouldn't even know dang on fire. They didn't even know what fire was and how to put it out. And then what Toby Maguire had to be like, fire, and then he says, cat, and then they up and run. I'm talking about. Same thing. He wanted to come online. Truman. Yeah, Truman wants to basically live or become alive, in a sense. That's why he wanted to go to Fiji. You know what I'm saying? He always seemed like he always had a light purpose of being an explorer and an adventurer, but all that was controlled and contained and dumbed down in a sense, to stop him from being that. Sounds like question made for Pleasantville. I wouldn't look if you want to, fine. I mean, I don't mind it. There's some good songs in Pleasantville. Here I am thinking about it, right? Like that song was be-bop-a-loo. Okay, you know. But yeah, so Truman, he tells his wife about traveling, but she stops him, and she, is a walking commercial in a sense, but she's the actress, uh, Ashley says, "Shit, you wouldn't go wrong with Pleasantville. Pleasantville's a good one. Pleasantville's a good movie, you know." But you you hit a foul ball with another one. I mean, yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, he stopped by stand-ins. It's like the agents in the Matrix, in a sense, where they see something that's out of place, which is his father. He didn't want to leave. Yeah. Christ said he didn't want to leave. I'm confused. Explain that, brother Zach. MPH over there, like you can do whatever you you have to keep the baby. Yeah, exactly. Just give a request and we do whatever you want. So but you see that, that was the thing that stood out and then was easily taken away, like drones, and then they stopped Truman from finding out anything more to control him, because as you go on in the movie, he's the only living thing or only real thing on this so-called controlled realm, and things like that. But he tells his mom, and his mom doesn't believe him, right? But then you see Truman, remembering Lauren from from high school, got a red sweater and things like that, and you see, him in high school, don't even look like they in high school, right? Exactly, the true man show. That was the thing about it. He was the true man. He didn't have no first name. Here I am trying to think of. They never called him by his first name. They just called him Truman, showing that he was the true man. And this is also where he meets Meryl, who starts off as a friend and whatnot. But Truman talks to Lauren, in the library. They give these glances at each other, and it's non-verbal, but they smile at each other. If you ever like somebody and you don't talk, but from afar y'all just looking at each other and smiling. Yeah, I remember that. Alabama. Yes. For me, I remember the day. Yes, I remember the day. Just smiling at that girl. Why did I not talk to her? Why did I not talk to her again? Oh, I did. I did say hi. Maybe because we was at church at the time. But yeah. But they have they have these nonverbal exchanges, and then all of a sudden in the library you see him actually grow up to talk to her. So it was a flashback moment because I really had a moment like that. Like, I remember that. Yeah. Oh well. True to what he was created to be. Exactly. So he asked her out and she's like, no, no, like, you want to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but she says now. And she says, if we don't go now, it won't happen. But his desire to leave was that expanding beyond what was given to him. He rebelled. Yeah. Um, but they go to the beach. They run out grid, you could say, or basically to the border, which is the beach. And then she tells him, that her name is Sylvia. And they exchange a kiss and whatnot. But her so-called father comes. Here comes another agent and says that she's crazy and she brings all her boyfriends here and things like that. And they're moving to Fiji, and then they go. Those flashbacks were used to try and ground him back to his artificial reality. I can't say that, Brother Zach. Only reason why is because Lauren represents his rebelliousness, not to grind him back into his artificial reality. That's his flashback of real freedom. Like, he look into her eyes, and he wants to do something spontaneous and things like that, and go somewhere he's never been, in a sense. So it's not to basically ground him back to an artificial reality, but that was the first flashback the only flashback where you see, in a sense, where he, rebels, or he questions, or the person that guides him to question his reality, in a sense. He had to be relegated to reality that was presented to him. His desire to stay led him to ignore the glitches in the system. Exactly. Could Lauren be the serpent? Well, you can say so. Yeah. You can say that Lauren is the serpent because Lauren is the serpent. Excuse me. You can say that Lauren is the serpent because what? She opens his eyes to things that he does not see. He doesn't question his reality until he meets who? Lauren. So she plants the seed, wisdom to point where he was constantly thinking of, and she's also still his point of, you would say, rebellion or questioning or adventuring. That's his focal point, in a sense. Wasn't the first time that he questioned the reality was the radio? No, actually, Brother Zach, you can say that his first time was when he was when he was a kid, and he's climbing up the rocks on the beach, and everybody's stopping, and everybody's looking at him, and his father catches him. He's like, "No, Truman, don't go up there." But you can hear the construction that's happening in the background. So he wants to go up, but his father stops him. When he's a kid. Or you can also say that his probably his second one, when he's in school and he tells the class what he wants to be. I want to be an explorer like the Great Magellan, and then his teacher shuts him down. Was like, "Oh, sorry, everything's already been discovered." Why? What's that over there? Exactly. Things like that. That will be his first experiences, but you don't see that until in the flashbacks. There were many attempts from the actors to make him aware. Yes. Well, no. there were attempts from, I would say, fans of the show to do it. How, like you go to, you see this in games, you see this in sports. You see somebody run on the field, and then they got to catch them. You know what I'm saying? You see that in sports on TV. Somebody runs on the field and things like that. Did they get banned from the stadium, something like that? And you see that as well. Like when Truman has like one of his first Christmases, and you see Truman, you're on TV. I'm on the Truman Show. Or then you see another fan, saying, Truman, you're on TV. It's the fans that try to make him aware of it first. Then it's some of the actors, rebellious actors. His first Christmas was funny. It's all TV. Exactly. Oh yes, right. Yeah. But that happens, but she tells him to come and find her. And that also sparks his his desire to leave the town of Sea Haven. But you see that Sylvia, aka Lauren, is always watching the show. Like they watching each other in a sense. That she's outside of the matrix, free, but she's an activist. You know what I'm talking about? She's an activist for Truman. And to free Truman. Because she sees Truman as being a prisoner and things like that. So then you see Truman hear the radio glitches, and they telling him what he's doing while he's driving. What street's going on and things like that. And then you just see him, questioning things around him. And then he goes into a building, that's supposed to have an elevator, but then all he sees is basically the back set or backstage, and then they cover, and then you see the security kick him out. He's already questioning. As long as he stays asleep, Christoph was cool. Once it became spontaneous and random, it got harder to control. Is it trying to say that love is a driving force? It can be. I mean, think about this. we know of a certain story, of a certain blacksmith, who does nothing but work. He goes in the woods, saying everybody don't care about, the wonders that I bring this world. So I'm going off into the woods. I'm just gonna work, and that's what he does. It takes a woman to put honey on herself to get him to look and come out the woods. Come out the woodshed. She loved it, but yeah. You could say, in a sense, it could be a catalyst. I would say a catalyst. It could be a catalyst, but it depends, But it could be a catalyst, but it wasn't the only thing. You know what I'm saying? That was probably a driving force, but it was the driving force to awaken what was already inside of Truman. He always was an adventurer. He told you that as a kid. I want to be an adventurer. I want to be an explorer. He already had that inside him to be. It was just his desire for Lauren and wanting to travel, and find her, that he became what he wanted to do. Adventure, question, things like that. I thought it was shedding a light on desire and will. It is. I would say that as well, because he did have desire and he did have the will to leave where he was, um, dude came out the womb early. Yes, and even that was controlled because what? It was an unwanted pregnancy, so he doesn't even know who his parents are, and that goes into something that I thought about how Truman is basically a human intellectual property. I thought about it. I was like, he's a human intellectual property, and if you think about it, because what? He was adopted by a corporation, basically making him, in a sense, a human intellectual property. They're making money off who? Truman, the Truman Show. That in itself is a human. It is an intellectual property by being a show, but because it's a reality show centered around him, that basically makes him a human intellectual property. He kept putting the face together to have him strive for something, or people just love a romantic story, or people just love that, or he just saw that woman as his real counterpart or his wife. Mind you, he had that daggone picture inside the picture of his so-called wife, Meryl. So that just goes to show you that Truman that probably didn't see, he was either A, he was already cheating, or B, he saw Sylvia, aka Sylvia / Lauren, as his wife or his counterpart, his mate, not the one he was steered to have, which is Meryl. He could have put together pictures of Fiji. And he didn't. No, he chose to recreate her. Yeah. But Sister Kashia, he did have a poster of Fiji in the basement. He did have a poster of Fiji in the basement. So, I mean, he may not have had a recreated, um, uh, picture of Fiji, but he did have a poster of Fiji in the background. I sort of paid attention to the background this time. Peace Chief. I think Sylvia represented the closest thing to reality he ever experienced. Even his desire to go to Fiji was because Sylvia's father told him they were moving to Fiji. It was his only lead. Yeah, it was the closest thing to reality because what? It wasn't controlled. His attraction to her wasn't controlled. It was just natural. He looked at her and she smiled. She smiled. She smiled back, and wow, um, Marlon is got the horn in his ear, and he's not. He's you don't get the hell out. Like okay, he's like, bruh, you block it. She already giving me the eye, and here you are with your dago, horn in my ear. But was Fiji his driving force? It was his drive for sex. Fiji was not his driving force. Sylvia was his driving force. And the fact that she could be in Fiji also drove him. But I wouldn't say that sex was his driving force, because he could he could have done that with Meryl, but But you could probably also say that if we go to the anime nature of it, Achi's Zach, you know what I'm talking about? Was they playing on the Freud concept to drive for sex being so important? I don't know. Zach, you the dang. Here you go with the social. That's your realm. I mean, I know who Freud is, but I mean, from a historical aspect, you tell me, bro. You give me the psychics on it. The psychology on that. I don't know. I was born the young anyway. I think somewhere in there, the drive for truth was that in there. Mm-hmm. His primal origins were more powerful than any machinations. Yeah, you know, um, yeah. I mean, that's in you could say historically that since ancient times that has been a driving force. That's a driven force for men to have safer communities and things like that, to hunt and kill foreign entities that would basically block the drive for them to have sex in a safe environment. Could sex with the woman he actually wants been a driver? Yes. I'm not about to say that line from Harlem Nights. But you know the line. You know that's some big to make a man change guys. Need I say more? But yeah, how important was it to control the radio that he was listening to every day? It was it was highly important because of the fact that it controlled how he basically got information in a sense. From weather to news and things like that. It was one of the things of controlled media. Controlled media. Here on now you about to get me into things like propaganda and things like that. Things that have happened. Shoot, we talk about the things. Think about control media. Now I'm thinking of the USSR and things like that. But yeah, you know, um, so it was very important because that's how he got um his information, but also because it was also a camera, so it's looking at him, telling him everything's all right. I sort of also felt like the radio was sort of hypnotic in that sense. Like you're gonna have a beautiful day, things like that. Everyone was tapped into that one frequency. Yeah, hive mind. So that happens, and we see Truman tells Marlon that he's going away, but then he goes to Meryl, and he sees that she's lying about what's going on at work, but also he they going in the photo book with his mom and Meryl, and he pays attention because he's got magnifying glass. Pays attention to um the marriage photo of him and Meryl, and sees that she's got her fingers crossed as they're kissing, like this marriage is not real. And that also makes him question things. Or maybe it was because it felt like that ring was on the wrong thing. I'm like, ain't that the right hand? Oh, am I, you know, do I not know my right from left? Yeah, he's still facing that way. Okay. So can one learn to see the truth? Or does it already need to be inside of them to recognize what they see? Hmm. I will probably say both brothers that it sort of depends. In some cases you got to go outside yourself to see the truth, but for other cases all you're doing is seeing what was already inside you. You see that with with some like with that. Look, here I am. You say that question, and here I am thinking. Well, in one instance, I'm thinking of never end story. He's like, well, my horse died. This, that. Trey's like, I went through all of this just to find out what was already inside me the whole dang on time, or what was in Bastion the whole time. We went on this whole adventure just to find out what was in Bastion the whole time. But in some instances, you have to go outside to find the truth because it's there where you want it or not. Um, Hmm. What's an example? Pleasantville. Pleasantville's an example like that. They have to go outside themselves to find out some truth about themselves. You know what I'm saying? And even you find that out in when when the trial happens. What do you want to do to me? Kids are making out in the streets. You can have a flood any minute. Pretty soon, the women are going to go to work while the men stayed home and cook. No, that can happen. But it can happen. No, it cannot. And then things like that. Like the Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, follow the Yellow Brick Road. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. So, but he goes, to the hospital and see, and they feigning like they about to do surgery. You see that the woman doesn't have anesthesia; she's just acting because they about the decision. But here you have the security guard like, sir, you can't be here unless your family, you know. Which what was it another? Well, it don't matter. But then you see Meryl coming home, and then he questions and takes her for a drive, and then you see him, driving. And he's like, "Let's go to Lex City. You hate the gambles. I've never been there. Let's go." And then you see the roads backed up. He says, "You know what? Let's go home." Then he be like, "You know what? Let's go to New Orleans. Mardi Gras. Let's Le Bon Temps Roulette." Things like that. But every path is blocked. You know what I'm talking about. Pleasantville, um, the infiltration of Babylon in trying to make change, hip, and modern. Hmm. Yeah. 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 Hmm. Yeah. Answer. He was looking for confirmation that he was calling BS, but the owner of the reality was cutting him off. MK Ultra, exactly. All paths are blocked, but he was getting getting confirmation on a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like they go home still. Well, actually, the police brings them home. you know, um, and you see Truman ask Meryl's like, "Why you want to have a baby with me? You can't stand me." He finally figures out the truth that their marriage was never real. And then she's doing a product placement, for hot cocoa. Well, cocoa. And he's like, "Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?" And then she's like, "Back up." Then she gets that day or slice and dice what thingamajiggy is, starts waving it around. "What you gonna do to me? Slice me, dice me?" Things like that. And you know, and then she breaks down, and then you see Marlon opens the door that was locked. It's like, "Buddy, I got bro," and then she holds on to Marlon like, "This is unprofessional," like like an actress, you know, like I'm going, but she can't go to a trailer, you know. Anything that can be perceived by the five senses is not real. Was he trying to come online by the wrong means? Hmm. Abide around me. Well, you can say that because Truman didn't really look into himself. You know, it was outside that he saw everything was not real. He, you never seen him have like a real, uh, I guess maybe a self evaluation in a sense, or things like that. You always, and even then, you sort of see him as dysfunctional. Especially when he's by himself. He's in the bathroom mirror. He's talking to himself. What I'm saying crazy things. You know, and things like that. So yeah, I would say that, brother, that within the movie, her acting was overacting. It was. But I think that was more. But she got replaced anyway for a new younger model, for a new younger blonde model. Hair all flipped up. I think they played on Truman's like for Sylvia, because you see she was wearing like a red sweater. She didn't have as long as hair, but they sort of tried to get that archetype of Sylvia to draw him in, you know. But he starts clocking everyone's routine. Made me think of the mindfulness aspect. Like I, he was looking for confirmation, but he kept looking to his illusion to confirm the truth. Exactly. He already knew the truth, but he kept going to the same people who were lying to him for answers, just like looking for our historical knowledge to line up with our reality. Yeah, yeah, Master Antonio. And an example you see is that is with not only Meryl, but mostly Marlon. you know, he questions everything. But here's Marlon is trying to bring him in. And how does he bring him in? By showing him his father, to keep him controlled, you know. Because like Christoph said, that was the catalyst that started this whole thing anyway. So I'm gonna write him back into the show. Um, that's that comment I've heard you say. You're never by yourself. You're always with yourself. Your most intimate companion. Exactly. Truth feeding the insanity. So you see that. Truman goes to a travel agency to Fiji, and he's like, "Oh, we can't get to Fiji." He tries to go to Chicago, can't do that. The bus driver, who's black, the bus driver, who's melon dominated, can't drive the bus. You got one of them old uniforms. Man, it was funny. Told you. But yeah, so you see that, and then, like I say, he questions the world that revolves around him, and things like that. And then, then you see, Christoph give an interview on, how, he controls Truman during the show, and basically everything that led up to, the show, how it was born and things like that. you know you sort of see Truman in itself. It's not only show, but it's basically uh, a science project in a sense. You know, I mean, if you think about it, he was born. What it was like 5 births, and he was like I say, he was the only one that came on time. He was 2 weeks premature. We couldn't plan this. They had other variables just in case, but he was the one that basically volunteered himself in a sense. Does the people around him have any moral and ethical ethical responsibility. Well, in the in a more perfect in the look, if we're talking the right thing to do, yes. But if if this is your job, I mean, your job is to if this is what you getting paid to do. Moral and ethical responsibility goes out the window because anything that is moral and ethical is decided by what? The corporation that they work for. You know? So they may not see themselves doing something like Lauren is or Sylvia is, being activist against this corporation because it's moral and unethical towards Truman. But none of the actors see it that way. They just see it as a job, an acting gig, and they'll keep on acting in it, for as long as they can, you know. They remove Truman's right to choose. Yeah, that's but in I wouldn't, what, just kid. I wouldn't say they removed his right to choose. They just removed his ability to choose in a sense. Because everything was to control him. His phobia was totally created. It wasn't, but it was totally created and fabricated to keep him controlled. Because think about it, Truman's the only thing real thing or real person, real being there. Therefore, Truman is in itself the only uncontrolled variable in this environment. Everything else is controlled. He's the only uncontrollable thing, and they have to do everything they can to stop him from being uncontrollable. Dang, here I am thinking of dang on Dr. Amos and the dang on Skinner box. Okay. Why don't you tell us about that, Brother Zach? Things like that. He's already the rat in the maze, looking for the cheese. Sea Haven is the maze, and he's the rat. That rat. Oh, gotta get away. The rats and them. The rats and them. Nicodemus. You betrayed Nicodemus. Jonathan Frisbee is dead. Jonathan, see, you would have grown old, right? He would have remained young. And then the crow. Okay, let's see. Yes, I do know the rats and them. Used to watch it as a kid. That should be a Don Bluth film. Don Bluth had some good films in a sense. And the Secret in Them was one of my favorites as a kid. Anyway, Truman was being controlled, but in a way, he was also being used to keep everyone else in the world captive. People would be glued to the TV. Anyway, so we might as well put all eyes in one place. I was gonna say that I was leading up to it, Mazda's audio, but you beat me to it. But yeah, he was controlling everything in reality, in the outside world. Everybody was looking at him. Look, had a bar, dedicated to him. Nothing but him. You can see him 24 hours, and you see people falling asleep to him, falling asleep, and whatnot. Looking at him sleeping, and whatnot, and things like that. It was a 24-hour show. But you see that, but he was keeping people glued, keeping people ratings, things like that, because this was something that nobody had ever seen before. But also, it I guess you could say it had a lot of emotionalism tied into it, because it's like watching a movie within a movie, in a sense. You know, everybody on the outside knows the show. The only person that doesn't know the show is Truman. But everybody else is in it. Everybody else is in on it, but he's not. So he's the only one giving an authentic, in a sense, an authentic acting performance, because it's all him. It's not something made up. Everybody else is made up. Everybody else is fictional except for Truman. So it would be safe to say that a lot of money was made off of his ignorance. So was it beneficial for everyone to be in on it? Yeah, I mean, the corporation was showing up making money off of it. You got a 24-hour broadcast, no commercials, in a sense, and think about it. If they don't have commercials, that's why you got product placement. So they're paying top dollar for the product placement. So for the corporation, yes. And if the corporation's doing good, because you never get to know the name of the corporation. But if the company's doing good, then the actors get paid is doing good, because they probably have to live there. So they ain't going home. You know what I'm talking about. Don't forget the Truman catalog. See? So yeah, it was beneficial for everybody to be in on it who were making money. If you were getting paid for it, if you was getting a lick, I mean, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you got basically live music being written off like freestyle off the top. It seemed like, because every day is different. It's like dang on soap operas. Huh. Of our lives. General Hospital. You see them every day. Just thought about it. Things like that. What's the benefit of keeping melanin dominant people ignorant? The benefit of keeping melanin dominant people ignorant is that you can make money off of their ignorance. There's many dago benefits. I mean, you can have a permanent supporter class when it comes to voting, and you ain't gotta do nothing for them. You can you can invite them to your games, your gladiatorial games. Offer them a bunch of money and they'll go. What? It's beneficial for them. Thank you, but yeah, Achi Zach. BG, yeah, it was making overtime. But thank you. You gotta set this up on the 5. She would have loved that gig. He would have made money. He would have made bank. He creative. But yeah. So, but yeah, you have that. But you see Kristoff, have it out with Lauren, what you're doing to Truman is sick and things like that. But then he says the world outside is sick and crazy and whatnot. I created a world, where there is nothing like that. You can steal birthright land, feed them lies about the history and culture. It's probably just fun. Yeah, they don't know. They yeah, so many dang on benefits, So, but for a minute, Truman goes back to his normal routine, but then you see Truman escaping, exactly. Check the manual, keep them deaf, dumb, and blind, and you can't do, you know, and you got a servant class for life. Or until the Messiah comes, you know, whichever you prefer. But if he comes, you gotta kill him. You gotta kill him. J. Edgar Hoover showed us the way. Go and tell, bro. Anyway, uh, so we have that. Okay, well, so would they need to use love or women to finally exit the created reality? Family. So I would say, yeah, if it creates family, if it creates long lasting families, of course, because what's ain't that one of the ploys that keeps us keeps us from doing it? The ignorance of the importance of family. You know, men versus women are from Mars, women are from Venus, and all that. You know. So yeah. Yeah, if it keeps you from building family and creating bloodlines, of course, brother Zach. um, which was in this movie a bit. Can any of it be? Which was in this movie a bit? Can any of it be used? Used for what? um, Never thought of it that way. Marlon is the prison warden. Flashbacks to the scenes when they were sitting at the bridge talking, um, and the producers are feeding him, um, feeding his friends all the lines. Yeah. Well, he wouldn't be the warden. Christoph's the warden. He'd be like the head CO. Well, head ground CO. Is that a thing? Let's just say he just got sergeant rank or something like that. You know. Things like that, you know. He on the but he on the ground floor. He on the ground floor. He ain't in the office. He in the ground floor. Everybody in the office, you know, more important. But you can say he's the he's the undercover detective officer, undercover officer, double agent, whatever you want to say. You know what I'm talking about. He's a field operative. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Master Antonio. So yeah, he's a field operative. Probably the head, well, not the head field officer, or field operative, but chief field operative, you know, whatever you want to call it. I don't. But yeah, but you see him escape. You know, where everybody thinks he's sleeping in the basement. He escapes from the closet. You know, and there's a hole up and out, and everybody's looking at for him. You know, they locking arms. You know, and then they're using his parents like Truman, and all that whatnot. They still can't find him. You know what I'm talking about? They still can't find him. And you see that, and then all of a sudden it dawns on Christoph. We're looking everywhere for him, but we're not watching the sea. But they cut transmission for a bit because they're still looking for him. They can't find him. But he's like, man, we're making top ratings by just having this on. Which speaks to the emotionalism of the audience. They're like, what's going on? Time when TV actually turned off. Anyway, but so you see that, but then all of a sudden you see that Truman is selling. He's facing his fear, or his so-called phobia that wasn't real. Tried to use tradition to bring him back. Yeah. So he's selling. Got the picture of Sylvia, and He's just sailing, got the captain's head on, I was about to say Gilligan Island, but no. um, so he's sailing, and then what happens? Kristoff's like, well, in order to control him, we're going to create a storm to, make him turn back. He'll be like I said, we'll make him turn back. He'll be too afraid to keep on going. But what happens as the storm is happening? Truman ties himself to the boat and says, "Is that the best you got?" It's like having a it's like having a battle with God. And it says, "That's the best you can." Forrest Gump. It's just gonna be today's you and me. Yeah, Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan. See, on the ship, same difference, same thing. But yeah, he's sticking it out, and then everybody, even the director, above Crystal says like, "Yeah, man, you gotta stop this. You going too far with this. I'm talking about. You absolutely Lieutenant Dan ice cream, Lieutenant Dan ice cream. Okay. I'm sorry, Lieutenant Dan. She smelled like cigarettes." Anyway, so you see that, and he's like, we can't have everybody seeing him die in front of a national TV audience. And then, of course, saying he was born in front of a national TV audience. What's the difference? He's willing to die for a cause, instead of going back and experiencing a slow death. Yes, he was. And so they finally stopped the storm, and but then he hits a wall. Literally, the boat hits the wall. But he hits the wall, and then he touches it and realizes all been real, all been fake. So he beats at the wall. But then he realized he can walk along the edges of the wall. So that's what he does until he gets to the stairs, and then he sees a door which says exit. Opens the door, it's nothing but black. So Truman's busy making a decision. Truman reminded me of Herod in the sense he didn't care if Truman died. He just wanted to prevent his ascension. Yes, I thought the same thing too. Achi Antonio, where like everything was controlled to bring him back, to do this, to do that, to keep him contained. Things like that. Conception, right? So then you hear Kristoff speak to him like he's God, because they're in in the basically the moon room, sun room, whatever you want to call it, sun spirit, moon spirit, whatever. And he's talking to him like he's God in the sky, even if it's a fake sky. Because how you can create clouds in a closed environment, I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. So. He's talking to him. He says, "I'm creative of a television show, and you're the star." Things like that. But he talks to Truman. This is I found was interesting that I never paid attention to as a teenager. He talks to Truman like he's a fan of the Truman Show. I was with you, when you were born. I was with you when you took your first step, when you got your first tube. That episode when you got your first tube and things like that. He talks like he's a fan. And then what? He sort of tries to relate as his artificial parent in a sense, because you see that he's touching Truman's head like you're his son. I mean, well, he's your son, but you're only communicating through him through an artificial lens. Not person to person, but through an artificial lens in that sense. And so Truman's like, I've never had a camera inside my head, things like that. Um, but he's like, was it all? Was any of it real? He's like, you're real. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, man, you go out there, nothing will be as different than the world I made for you. You know what I'm saying? So then he said, say something, Truman. Say something. God damn it, you're on television. You're in front of the whole world. Like a fan, Yeah, yes. Would you say Kristoff was self-absorbed? Yeah, he's self-absorbed. Let me tell you something. Kristoff so dang on. I knew Kristoff was dang on self-absorbed by his dress. He had that dang on beret, that dang on black turtleneck. Totally, To me, that was always. I've seen this in more than one movie. That was always the bougie get up. Like I'm above everybody else. You ever see? I like to call the beatnik type dress, like I'm woke, and things like that, and everybody else is beneath me. That's how he dressed. So of course he was so self-absorbed. He called himself Kristoff. That name alone tells you he's self-absorbed. He didn't even have a last name. It was just Kristoff. Exactly, posh. He posh. You know what I'm talking about? you. I'm surprised he didn't talk to him. Talk about himself in third person. The Kristoff does not do that. We do this. These are not spirit fakers. These are spirit fakers. You know what I'm talking about? Things like that. No, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So you got that. And what does Truman say? Limbo. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Which he always said to the black family. The one black family member. That was about, and he bows and exits stage center. Not left, not right, but center. But then you see, Sylvia leaving her apartment to go find Truman, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. But he leaves, and everybody outside in reality is happy. Like, he did it! He did. It's like watching dang on RPG, real life RPG, I'm talking about. Oh, role playing game for those that don't know. And you're like, yeah, he did it. You see this the emotionalism as he's going through the storm. You got the naked guy in the tub who look like he never got out of that tub. Hold on, Truman, hold on. And he's holding on to the dang bath towel and whatnot. You got the valet parking. Not even pay attention to the job. Like, leave them in the car. We get it. Was Truman their savior in a sense? Yes, because once he leaves, what else do you hear? Let's go find something else to watch. But then no, because why? They're looking for something else to distract them. Because Truman was a great big distraction, if you think about it. So they're still gonna find a distraction by changing the time. What's the TV guide? When there was TV guide, and it wasn't on TV. We had to actually read. I never had one, but yeah, things like that. Golden calf. Yeah, I guess. And we know. We no longer get to see what happened. No longer get to watch Truman. Only wondered how he turned out. Yeah. Well, we know he found. We know he he found Sylvia. That's what they gonna do because she went to go get him. She went to go get. She went to go get her man. But yeah, um, yeah, the TV guy was a little book. You know, I remember seeing them in the stores. Now, I mean, I bought one, or my parents bought one. We didn't need that. We had the preview guide on dang on. You know, it had its own channel. Took a while to get to what you wanted. I mean, you just had to, just wait for it to scroll up and just okay. When and you had to time it just right, so you could get two if you want to flip back something you want. You have time just right, so you can find the channel that you was watching, especially when it came to the the premiere channels like HBO or something, things like that. Oh yeah, grandparents usually did have them, Sister Kashia, for sure. Relying on with the people in the movie, yeah, watching Truman, yeah. He didn't save nobody. He was just the main attraction. Exactly. Sad so being. They didn't question. I mean, because it was like they didn't question their own reality. But who did question their reality? Sylvia. Because what she said, well, if you pay attention to the background, one post that she had, first Truman, what's next? Our kids, or your children, you know, because it could if it could happen to him, it could happen to your own children, right? And things like that. So yeah, he was just the main attraction. Wanted to save the old boy from when he was finally drowned in the tub. I still can't believe he took a 3-day bath. Hey, I ain't talking about that. I ain't about to talk about that. but yeah, I know. They would just exactly. They would just start over, reset. Let's find something else on. You know. Um, and thus you see the dumb down of like maybe humanity in that sense. Where you're so emotionalized and distracted, you just look for something else to um distract you. you know you don't wake up from the matrix. That's why I called it the ancestor to the matrix, because that's pretty much what it was in the sense, if this was actually, if the matrix was actually a series, and they actually had a pre-series to show you how it, things like that, how you got up to the matrix. That would have been interesting. That probably would have been good. Oh well. Or you put a little bit of Westworld, I don't know. But yeah, would the inspiration save them through Master Hand? Um, hmm? They watched Truman. Christoph watched them. We watched all of them. And we're talking about all of this into surveillance machines. Good old circle. Yeah, surveillance. Yeah. It's the circle. Okay. Um, I think Christoph will find another Truman like Aki. Question about the entertainment world, same template, different characters. Yeah, the age old saying, the show must go on. It's gonna go on. They're gonna find somebody to replace Truman. The thing is, it's like, how I guess you find this with how do you um maybe replicate something that was genuine and original and unique in that sense. You know what I'm talking about? It's like with some shows you can't remake. You know what I'm saying? You can't remake. Some shows you just can't remake. Or some shows you can remake, but in a different um with a different outlook. Case in point, Battlestar Galactica. You know what I'm saying? The original one, it was good, a little cheesy, but it was good, he had Apollo, and Boom was a million dominant man, but then what you had 1981. I never seen that one, but you had 1981, which flopped, you know, but then you had Battlestar Galactica, which apparently was got rave reviews, back in the day. Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't the same Battlestar Galactica. It was something. It was a totally revamping of the story. You know what I'm talking about, and things like that. It was very totally different. Same thing with how many times this have we made basically Star Trek. And Gene Roddenberry has been long since dead. You know, but yeah, just makes me think of V for Vendetta and ideas and concepts that, yeah. Your question does make me wonder, though, is there a difference between a Christ and a Savior? Are you asking, um, me, Master Antonio, or asking, Aki Zach? He probably has someone on deck already. Like he said, he was with him since birth. He saw his coming because he played out. Played Cutway, and thought reveries when he knew Truman was fantasizing about Sylvia. Oh, me. There is a difference. Because, I mean, not everyone is enlightened in that sense, but anyone has the ability to save someone. You always hear these stories of common people saving somebody. It was there at the right time, something like that. They're a savior. That don't mean in the biblical sense, like being a Christ or anything like that. Yeah, I save someone, but to to be a Christ is a purpose, and you're it's sort of, I can't explain this. It's also a mission, in a sense, um, and and things like that. Mm, it's different from being a savior, because shoot, you could say, well, you could say that, you know, you could say that Dago, uh, you could say Hitler's a dang on savior in a sense, he saved, he saved the Germans from doing all that dang, from buying all that debt and doing that. They didn't want to do it. They start that war or something like that. But to be enlightened and to save a people, now that's a totally different story. It's the same thing like Christ and prophet, totally, totally different missions, but all in line with the same mission, with the same purpose in a sense, you know. Um, shoot, y'all a dynamic duo, Shabbat tag in at any time. I was trying to say cutaways. Yeah. That was me thinking out loud, but that was fun. Yeah, we are. But this is Yeah, but that's tomorrow. we tag teaming tomorrow, you know. But you just give me today. But yeah, it's totally different, man. I mean, it sometimes you want to say it's describable, but indescribable. But I don't know. But yeah, there's totally a difference between the Savior and a Christ. You know, even even a Christ has a message. If you think about all the Christ that throughout history, they had a message, and they all said something totally different, but they all had the same the same variables or the same reoccurrences in their lives in a sense. No. But they all had a message, and it's all written. Something's all written down. Things like that. You know, but a savior, shoot, I mean, anybody can anybody can save someone. In a sense. Now, whether or not the person they save actually benefits from that, that's a different story. You can save someone, and they may not get the lesson, from it, or it may not even change them. You know, Free will, I guess. But yes, but shoot, man, we that was the end of the movie. Here I am trying to answer, deep philosophical questions and whatnot. Really think about it. So yeah, that was the Truman Show. Join us in that strong win. we we will be reviewing. Come on, I'm gonna need some Nita to get her little dance on, whatever she does. I need Elio to come on out. We will be reviewing Kingdom of Heaven. Yes, we will be reviewing Kingdom of Heaven. We which was requested by Achi Deirdre, but she want to make sure everybody she's been waiting a good minute. We had to switch some things around, but we got to her request. Ain't like we won't get to her, but she wanted to feel special. So we gotta treat we gotta treat her like she special. You gotta do with the special kids. So we are getting to Kingdom of Heaven, which it's a good movie. But like I say, if you watch, like I say, if you watch the theatrical version, you're probably not gonna understand a lot. You're gonna see some key parts are left out, but it's still good. It's still good. But yeah, look, so she didn't like that. I'm like, she liking that one. I bet you are. Hey, but yeah, you the special Wilson, bitch. I mean, but like I say, you still be knocking them out the park, unlike some people, But but we gotta treat you like you special, We gotta treat you like you the favorite child, We gotta give you, attention. We actually gotta watch you put on, your little dance recital. We can't just shrug you off. Like, yeah, I see it. Oh, wow, you looking at something else, That's nice, baby. That's nice. Things like that. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's what we're gonna get into. We're gonna get into the Crusades. We gonna get into the homie Saladin. You know what I'm talking about. And we gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it a little bit. You know, we gonna talk about, you know, Jerusalem and things like that. We gonna see some Knights Templars and things like that, and you know, we gonna get into, you know, a little bit of, you know, um medieval times. Medieval times. If you're from where I'm from, you know, that was actually a place. You know, people go and watch jousting and things like that, and the sword fights. You know, I never been, but see, like only thing, you know. But yeah, we're gonna get into those that, which will be very interesting. You know what I'm talking about. You know, we can. So that's what we on. And look, tomorrow you will see me again. Look, triple duty this strong, triple duty. So you see me tomorrow with Achi Zach. We gonna get into, you know, more the family structure. You know what I'm talking about. We gonna be tag teaming. You know what I'm saying, and things like that. Red Knight's going down. For sure. So Deirdre, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna get into it with with Ike Zach, and we gonna, you know, we gonna gang we gonna gang up. You know, we gonna tag team. You know, Ike Zach gonna go truck you. You know. I'll probably go, you know, while he does that, put you in the headlock. I'm the one that's probably gonna be laughing and looking at you, making jokes. Like, yeah. Thought you get away, huh? You know, get my little juke. Thought you get away, huh? I see you said, trying to up, man, huh? Shut up, man, huh? You know, gang, you know, for sure. You know, uh, but yeah, you know, we gonna have fun, you know, like we normally do. So yes. But give thanks, everybody. Give thanks to, you know, Master Antonio and Sister Kashia. I almost said somebody else's name, but it's one of my closest friends. So I almost said her name. But yeah, we gonna get into it. So give thanks to everybody for y'all requests. I appreciate it because look, I was just waiting for a right time. It's okay. She's one of the strongest. Well, that little girl, boy, that little girl, she ain't scared to fight nobody. But anyway, yeah, that's one of my Mississippi camp folk. She's scared to fight nobody. And she's shorter than all I know. Anyway, but I submitted first. It don't matter. It don't matter who submitted. Y'all both look. It's a tie. You both win. You know, we gonna cut that. It's a tie. You both win. So, you know, we look. It don't matter. Both look. Y'all both did it, and you know, bam. Sure, pal. Hiya, pal. Little rascals. Anyway. Maybe that's. Man, how can I break down Little Rascals? We are he man. Well, I'll be too nostalgic, bro. Or, but you know what? The actual original Little Rascals. Apparently, they had troubled lives. That would be interesting to talk about. You know, the original Little Rascals. Probably way before some of y'all. Well, a lot of y'all's time, but yeah, they apparently they had troubled lives. You know, But that'd be interesting topic. Maybe. So, oh, they were around. I'm thinking, actually, I'm thinking Little Rascals was like during the time of Shirley Temple. So, I know you ain't that old. You ain't, 1930s old. But I mean, it is. But if you can, yeah. But they did have more than one. Yeah, more than one Little Rascal. So, yeah, I forget. So yeah, you gotta do the black and white Little Rascals. Did they actually have a movie? I thought it was. I don't know. I'm used to the remake. I'm used to the remake. They had our gang. Yeah, I want to die in your arms. You do? Of course not right. Of course not right away. I'm off to join Sir Spankus. How's the toothache, bub? you know. Things like that. Oh, see. Babes are like a bad song. Once you get them stuck in your head, you can't get them out again. But yeah, that'd be interesting. But I just can't. Yeah. So anyway, give thanks everybody, and I will see y'all tomorrow on Anu Global. So go there. Don't come here because I ain't gonna be here. I'm gonna be there. But peace, everybody. I'll see y'all later.